For millions of years, the Megalodon ruled the oceans, a prehistoric megashark bigger than a bus, stronger than a submarine, and hungrier than me at 2 a.m. in front of the fridge. But despite being the ultimate apex predator, the Megalodon was actually doomed from day one. Yes, the ocean's deadliest creature basically spawned with the difficulty set to hardcore mode. Today, we're diving into why this giant shark never really stood a chance. Its first fatal flaw was a crippling addiction to warm water. If the ocean wasn't basically prehistoric bathwater, Megalodon wasn't showing up. This shark was the Goldilocks of the sea. Too cold? Ah, yes, this tropical jacuzzi is perfect for murder. But then, during the Pliocene epoch, the planet started to cool down. The closure of the Central American Seaway about 3 million years ago radically altered ocean currents, triggering a global cooling trend. As polar ice caps expanded and sea levels dropped, the Megalodon's warm, shallow habitats began to shrink dramatically. This wasn't just about comfort. These warm coastal zones were its nurseries, critical areas for raising its massive young, which were born larger than most adult humans. And here's the kicker. Recent studies of its teeth revealed Megalodon was warm-blooded. It kept its body temperature a remarkable 7 degrees Celsius warmer than the water around it. This biological furnace granted it explosive speed, but came at a cost, a colossal energy bill. To maintain that internal heat, it had to eat constantly. So as its warm hunting grounds vanished, this 60-foot shark was stuck burning precious calories on a prehistoric treadmill, just trying to stay warm. That brings us to problem number 2. Its entire food court disappeared. Megalodon had expensive taste. Its diet consisted of giant prehistoric whales, massive seals, and dolphins. If it wasn't the size of a minivan, it wasn't interested. Isotope analysis confirms it was a super predator at the absolute top of the food chain, even preying on other predators. But as the climate changed, its prey did something smart. The giant whales migrated to the new, colder, more nutrient-rich waters where Megalodon couldn't follow. They were basically like, all right, boys, let's move north. The shark is not invited. To make matters worse, some whale species were evolving to be faster and more agile, making them a much harder meal to catch. So the Megalodon was stuck in its shrinking tropical comfort zone, watching its entire diet swim away for colder seas. And just when things couldn't get worse, new competition moved into the neighborhood. While Megalodon was struggling, other predators were thriving. Enter the great white shark and early forms of orcas. They were smaller, more agile, and far more adaptable. They could handle the cooler waters and hunt a wider variety of prey. Analysis of zinc isotopes in fossil teeth shows that the great white's diet directly overlapped with the Megalodon's. They weren't just sharing the ocean, they were fighting over the same dwindling food sources. The Megalodon was a heavyweight boxer, powerful but specialized, being outmaneuvered by quicker, more versatile fighters. It wasn't one single cataclysmic event that killed the Megalodon. It was a perfect storm, a slow, crushing defeat. Its world got colder, its food left town, and new rivals showed up to steal what was left. The very traits that made it a dominant king, its massive size and warm-blooded metabolism, became an anchor in a changing world. The Megalodon wasn't just a monster, it was a specialist. And when its specialty, the warm, whale-filled ancient ocean, vanished, so did the king. It's a chilling reminder that in the long game of survival, it's not just strength that matters, it's adaptability that truly rules the world. For millions of years, the Megalodon was flexing around the ocean with a simple motto: I'm big, therefore I win. But then, a new challenger appeared. The early great white shark. Now, these sharks were everything the Megalodon wasn't. They were smaller, faster, and way more adaptable. Most importantly, they were far better at dealing with colder water. Think of it like this. Megalodon was a massive 18-wheeler, powerful but stuck to the main highways. The great whites, they were little sports cars that could zip anywhere. And they started using that advantage to steal the Megalodon's lunch. As the oceans began to change, the great whites could follow prey into cooler waters where the Megalodon couldn't survive.
The competition was real. Scientists can prove it by looking at zinc isotopes in fossilized teeth, which basically act as a dietary record. The analysis shows that both Megalodon and great whites had overlapping values, meaning they occupied the same spot in the food chain and were fighting for the same meals. Some researchers even have a theory that's absolutely wild. They think great whites might have eaten Megalodon babies.
Just try to imagine that. You're a 60-foot-long super shark, the undisputed apex predator of the planet, and you're losing your kids to something the size of your own dorsal fin. But the great white wasn't the only problem. An even bigger, unstoppable enemy was changing the entire game board. Between 3.6 and 2.6 million years ago, the planet's climate shifted dramatically. The oceans got colder. As massive ice caps formed, sea levels dropped. This environmental shift caused the warm, shallow coastal waters that Megalodon used as nurseries to shrink and disappear. The entire ecosystem was changing. Megalodon's world was falling apart like the final season of your favorite show. You had less warm water, more competition, and a much smaller hunting range. And its food? Megalodon's primary prey were huge marine mammals like baleen whales. As the waters cooled, those whales migrated to new feeding grounds in the polar regions, places the great whites could follow, but the warm-blooded Megalodon couldn't.
This wasn't just a bad day at the office. This was an entire survival strategy collapsing. Imagine being the biggest kid on the playground, and suddenly, the playground is gone, and also, everyone moved, and now someone else is eating your lunch. Even with its insane size and a bite force strong enough to turn a car into confetti, the Megalodon was simply built for a world that didn't exist anymore. So in the end, the Megalodon wasn't defeated by another, bigger monster. It wasn't taken down by some secret super predator, and it wasn't abducted by aliens, although that would make a killer thumbnail. The truth is much simpler. The Megalodon was doomed from the beginning because it was too specialized. Its entire life strategy depended on warm oceans full of giant prey, and once that environment disappeared, so did the Megalodon. But hey, while it lasted, it was the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the sea, a creature so completely terrifying that even millions of years after going extinct, we're still looking over our shoulder at the deep, dark water and asking, what if it came back?